Hello everyone, my name's Alex Parker and I work as an accountant and tax advisor in the lovely village of Lymm here in Cheshire. My day job is helping my clients with their accounting and tax needs, and I also work more closely with some of my clients, helping them to develop their business strategies. More recently, I have spent all my time helping and supporting those of my clients affected by the coronavirus or the COVID-19 virus. And so I just thought it might be helpful if I make a short video listing some of the ways the government are proposing to help businesses at this time. I'm making this video primarily for my own clients, but I will also be posting this onto the social media platforms, so I hope it might be helpful to others also. I'm recording this video week commencing the 23rd of March. It's a very fast changing situation. I believe there are separate rules for the devolved nations of England, Wales, Scotland and Ireland. I'm just focusing on the rules relating to England. And as I say, the situation is changing daily. So my advice is to check the gov.uk website. For those of you who are clients of mine, I'm doing my utmost to keep my own website up to date and obviously sending out circulars when I've got more information. But this is just a brief overview, which I hope may be helpful. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing to say is HMRC computer systems are very well geared up for collecting tax when we have to pay tax, not so much when we have to reclaim tax, as anyone who's ever asked for tax repayments will know. Clearly, I believe that the revenue are working very hard to get these systems up and running, but we're not sure how things are going to work yet because the systems are still being designed and built. So inevitably, there's likely to be delays. But let me make a start and go through. I've made a bit of a list which I just want to run through. So first of all is the job retention scheme. This is the most valuable and generous relief announced so far. Quite simply, this allows an employer who's backed into a corner and sadly thinking about having to let staff go, that they won't have to do that because the government has offered to pay 80% of the employee's salary for the next 3 months. There are certain rules and conditions, but fundamentally this allows employees to remain on the payroll rather than having to be made redundant. Please note, this is only for situations relating to the COVID-19 crisis, but it is a generous relief. So this is a 3-month period with the start date backdated to the 1st of March 2020, and therefore as it stands it will cover the months of March, April and May. The Chancellor has said that if this needs to be continued, that it will be extended. So what does an employer need to do to qualify? Decide who these workers will be. They're designated as furlonged workers. Having decided who they'll be, you need to advise the employees what has been decided. I'm not a lawyer, I can't advise on the contractual aspects of this, but I believe it's always good practice to consult with your employees before making firm decisions, and do please take legal advice as well. At this point, we're not entirely sure what HMRC will want in terms of information, so we'll have to wait for further guidance in this regard. Another question is, what do we base the calculation on? Again, this hasn't been confirmed yet, but a lot of reports I've read seem to indicate that this will be the February payroll figure to determine what the employee normally earns, but we just don't know yet. As it stands, we do know for each employee, 80% of up to £2,500 per month can be reclaimed from the government. So it's a generous offer designed to help as many employees as possible to retain their jobs rather than being made redundant. Moving on, there are two taxes that seem to worry people the most, VAT and income tax. First of all, VAT. This is quite simple relief. The government has said that you don't have to make VAT payments due between the 20th of March to the 30th of June. I must stress that you do still need to submit your VAT returns. It's only the payment that's being deferred. How long is the payment deferred for? As long as it's paid by the end of the 2021 tax year, which is the end of March 21, then this will be fine and no interest will apply. All UK businesses are eligible automatically. You don't need to make a claim, but please remember you do need to submit your VAT return on time. If you're owed a VAT repayment, this will still be repaid in the normal way. Also, if you would still like to pay your VAT and can do so, you're able to continue as normal. One practical point, I've seen different reports, some of them saying that this will be applied automatically, some of them saying if you have a direct debit it's wise to cancel. My own view on this is if you pay VAT by direct debit, I would cancel the direct debit and then reinstate that for the next return. Income tax. As far as income tax is concerned, most people should know that the self-employed pay their income tax in 3 parts, July and January each year. Half is paid in January, second half in July, and then the balance is paid the following January together with the next half for the next year. By now, everyone should have paid their January instalment, so that leaves the July payment outstanding. You will not need, this is for self-employed people, you will not need to pay the July payment until we get to January. So you'll pay the second half of tax together with anything extra that's due in January. Again, no claim needs to be made. It's an automatic offer to anyone who's self-employed. Please note, the guidance as it presently stands appears to suggest that this is just for self-employed people, so anyone else under self-assessment isn't caught by this. So for anyone else who isn't caught by this, there is always the option to request a time to pay arrangement. This has always been available for any people or business in financial distress. It's a long-standing arrangement offered by HMRC. They're often difficult to negotiate. The agreements are agreed on a case-by-case basis. I'm hoping HMRC might be more lenient given what's going on, but we just don't know. There's a dedicated helpline for time to pay. That's 0800 0159 559. There's no guarantee that they'll say yes, but my advice is if you are struggling to make your tax payment, speak to them sooner rather than later. Moving on now to statutory sick pay. It's an area that people are often confused about. Whilst we know that employers pay SSP, there is now a one-off situation where the revenue are going to refund 2 weeks of SSP, statutory sick pay, for anyone who is off work as a result of COVID-19. Now, let me be very clear. My understanding is that being off work as a result of COVID-19 does not necessarily mean you have it yourself. I believe this will include employees who are quarantined or they may be self-isolating because of a family member. In all of those situations, I believe the relief is still available. So employees need to make the full facts available to their employer, and employers need to make sure you're recording everything you're told as to why people are off sick. In this situation, employers of small and medium-sized businesses with less than 250 employees are in a position where they may reclaim 2 weeks of SSP for any employee who is off work as a result of COVID-19. And the test for the number of employees is at the end of February. How will we get the money back? Much of this we still don't know, I'm afraid. What period will this cover? Again, this is still to be confirmed because they're still writing the regulations, but it will be announced on the gov.uk website when this is available. So for now, employers should just make the notes, make sure you know who's been off sick, how long, details of SSP paid, and as soon as the mechanism is in place, we should then be able to start to claim. How much do we get? Employees can qualify for £94.25 per week of SSP, paid by the employer. Normally, SSP is paid from day 4, but for this particular rule, only relating to COVID-19, it will start on the first day. Now, we do have a date for this rule. This will apply retrospectively from the 13th of March. One last point, this will also apply to directors of limited companies with less than 250 employees. If they meet the usual requirements for SSP, that is, have earnings of at least £118 per week, then they will be able to claim 2 weeks of SSP at the £94 per week back from the government if they are off work due to COVID-19. Now, the self-employed and others not earning £118 per week do not qualify for SSP. However, they can claim universal credit or employment and support allowance. For both of these, the rules have been relaxed significantly to help the self-employed qualify for that £94 per week, potentially for the 2 weeks relating to any COVID-19 absence. Again, timings have changed. Normally this rule would start from day 8, but it will now start from day 1 for this short period of time. Moving on, the next point I want to mention is business rates. Now, this should be relatively simple. Since no claim is needed, this should happen automatically. This should be dealt with by your local council because they already know what you do in your business property. For those in the retail, hospitality and leisure business in England, quite simply, they will not pay business rates for the 2021 year. A very big relief. Very specific rules has to be based in England, have to be in the retail, hospitality and or leisure sector. There's a long list of things the properties can be used for: shops, restaurants, cafes, drinking establishments, etc. You should be receiving your rates invoice from the council shortly, and this should give all the information you need. In addition to this, businesses in this industry can also qualify for cash grants up to £25,000. Now, please note, this relates to buildings. It relates only to people who are trading from properties. You get £25,000 per property, unless it's a very small property, a rateable value of under £15,000, in which case the grant will be £10,000. But still a welcome bonus to receive. It's called the Retail and Hospitality Grant Scheme, and if you work in these areas, your local council should send this money automatically. You don't need to apply for it. Now, also for smaller businesses in England who are not paying business rates because they're claiming small business rate relief or rural rate relief, you should be entitled to a one-off £10,000 grant. Again, this should be administered by the local council automatically, no application needed. Not quite sure on the timing of this. I've seen reports indicate the end of April, but we don't know yet. What else have we got? Yes, Corona Business Interruption Loan Scheme. My advice on loans is always very simple. This should be a last resort of trying to sort out your finances. But if you feel you have to go for this, please take a look at the gov.uk website for more details. I believe that from this week commencing the 23rd of March, you should be able to speak to your bank about the government guaranteed loans and the 12-month interest-free period. The advice is to speak to your own bank. My understanding in practice, if you would not have qualified for a loan prior to the COVID-19 benefits, you still won't qualify now. I also believe that for larger businesses, debt factoring is going to be offered by the Bank of England, details of which you can obtain directly from the Bank of England. Finally, insurance. Some people, I stress some people, it's likely to be a small minority, but some people may have business insurance that includes cover for pandemics and government-ordered closures. If you do, then this insurance should now kick in. Sadly, most businesses won't have this. It's just worth checking your policy. So I hope that's helpful. The one point we are waiting for more details on is further relief for the self-employed. I think this is posing problems because for employees, the government know very readily details of the up-to-date salary. That's not the case for self-employed. I do know that they're working on measures. Hopefully we might hear by the end of this week. I don't know if this is going to be strictly self-employed, sole traders, partnerships, or whether it will take into account that a lot of people operate owner-managed businesses through limited companies. And indeed, if they'll take account of the fact that most clients with small companies take out their income with a modest salary and the rest as dividends. I think that may be wishful thinking to think that they may give us relief for that, but we'll just have to see. So this is my video. I'm recording this on my mobile phone, so it's very raw and ready. I don't have any editing software, so please excuse my stumbles. But my intent was to bring information that may be of value to you. I believe at times like this, we all need to come together, and I very much want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. That's always my mantra in my coaching. So I hope this is helpful. Stay safe, everyone. God bless you all.